Yes, variations of a theme. Lots of echo.
Welcome to That Pedal Show. Dan here.
Nick here.
And
Steve here.
yes, ladies and gentlemen, the wonderful Mr. Steve Rothery.
We're delighted to welcome Steve back to the studio. It must have been at least a year ago.
Yeah, year and a half was it, I think.
And we had a general chat about Steve's career, classic tones through the Marillion period, and right up to date. And Steve promised us on that day that he would come back and talk loosely around the TC Electronic 2290, which takes in a wider discussion about the way in which you've used delays over the years and some of the inspiration to how you got into it. Maybe you could pick us up there, Steve. Like, where did it kick off for you?
I suppose all my favourite players growing up in Whitby in the 70s, it was the prog players, Steve Hackett, Dave Gilmore, Andy Latimer, really.
Sorry, is that Whitby?
Whitby, North Yorkshire, yeah. That's where I grew up.
Oh, sorry, okay. I thought you said your favourite players
From
Whitby. I thought,
No,
that's
no.
a specific
thing. No, I was a 15-year-old discovering rock music and starting to learn the guitar. And this is a style of guitar playing and the sonic approach that I went. Yeah, I was in covers bands for your first bands that everyone sort of does. Pretty awful. But yeah, my heart was sort of set on being a prog band one day. So I started using pedals, a couple of electro harmonics, electric mistress, and a big muff.
That's a recipe for joy right there.
Yeah, and different delays really. I had a H&H tape echo.
Oh yes.
Yeah, it had the old slider for the delay time, so you could get it into self-oscillate and then kind of move it up. It sounds like something taking off. So that was fun to do occasionally. But then, did that. We moved down from Whitby, joined Marillion, used a WEM copycat for quite a long time until we got signed to EMI, and then used a Korg tape echo.
Right.
Then the Roland tape echoes, the chorus echo, and
the space echo.
Yeah,
thing, yeah.
Used that for the first album and a bit, and then the digital delays arrived, kind of 824-ish.
But we're pretty much tape up to this point.
Tape up until that point, and then used the Roland SDE 3000.
Right.
And that was my main delay all the way up until 89 when I started using 2290s. And I've only recently really stopped using 2290s because I've got 5 of them and they've toured around the world for 20 odd years, and they start to get a bit unreliable. So,
and that's I guess we hear a lot about 2290s being unreliable, but that's nearly 40 years ago.
You put anybody in a flight case and chuck them down a flight of stairs for 20 years, and you'll find they get unreliable.
Yeah. So that's been they've been in flight cases, in cargo on airlines.
Exactly. Yeah. Sometimes some muppet will tip the rack and they'll kind of get more vibration and noise. And sometimes you do things like, I remember there's a gig we did up a mountain in Italy once, and the voltage was about 160, 170 volts, and it's kind of like, I'm not sure about this. Started crapping out. But, they've done me good service over the years. And before I started using other switches are available, but 2290s were my main controller. So it's got 5 loops. I put my
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it was all controlled from a ground control MIDI switcher and everything. I had 2 2290s, one for the Roland JC120 side and one for the trio side,
right?
With different pedals. Like I'd have the Rotosphere on the adrenaline pedal in this side. On the Roland side, I'd have a DS1 and a Boss C300 chorus and different sort of options. So
are those loops pre-delay or are they in between?
The way it works, it's pre-delay,
right?
On the 2290, but it's just a fantastic unit sonically. Weighs a ton, and I don't think you could even afford to build one these days. Just the discrete components inside, it probably costs about $5 or $6 just to build before you try to sell it. But yeah, really, once you get your head around it, incredibly easy to use. How it's set out, the way it's so easy to adjust echo times, filter, modulate, pan the delays, and also the way I used to use it it's to set the output gain. You can easily set the output gain for each patch. So in the days before, again, gig rigs, you know, that not only did I select the effects that I wanted to use in the loops, but also the overall gain of the
and you have your
of the
solo
patch.
sound, and that was boosted.
Exactly, yeah.
Ah, that's amazing. Okay, man, live and learn.
Let me just understand this loop situation just briefly then. So you could turn those loops on and off via MIDI?
Yeah. They're all MIDI program changes from the ground control. We'll select different patches on the 2290 and different combinations of sounds. Different. So each patch has a different.
I never knew that.
Never. Honestly, if I had known that,
Yeah.
probably gig rig never would have been invented.
But no, honestly, the thing is, once they started dying, the only way I could replace that functionality was to use at the time a G2, eventually two G2s, and the free the tone flight time delay, because that pretty much mimics the functionality of the way that the 2290 panel is set out. So I can instantly navigate it. Again, you've got a lot of the same controls. Even the output gain you can program on the flight time as part of each patch.
So the flight times obviously very heavily inspired.
Oh, completely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Yuki at Free the Tone.
Hello, Yuki.
Yes, hello, Yuki.
Hello, Behave.
Yeah.
Great guy.
And of course, we've got the TC Electronic, the 2290 pedal. Before we get into the pedals, though, I just would love to just hear a couple of sounds. So once we've heard some sounds, we're going to unplug the unit because it's, you know, it's had a hard life. It deserves a good cup of tea and a lie down.
It's not very well.
No, it's a bit crunchy. I almost didn't bring it, but...
Yeah, stick up on there. You join us then as Steve and Dave have arrived. We thought we'd better document some of this and setting up the rig that you have already heard or are about to hear. Not quite sure.
8 cable method.
The 8 cable method, which we'll explain in a minute. Just a bit of behind the scenes, you know, plugging stuff in. Because it's also professional and seamless when it actually happens. And I don't know if for the first time, but certainly one of the first times ever, one of the only times, 2 4x12s in That Pedal Show studio.
Come on, and I think we need to make, we need to look at our life choices and say, why is this unique? Why have we not done this more?
You've got to move the air.
Yeah.
This is nice. Look at this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look, new MKX Victory, the new amp from Victory and Martin. Very excited to hear that in a sec.
Amazing.
Okay. We'll come back after these messages.
We had to kind of learn how it was piped up, how all the cables work. So I had to reverse engineer how it was all put together. So I've labelled this. If we're here all day doing this, it's entirely my fault.
Well, sometimes it can take us hours to put a simple board together, and this looks not exactly simple.
All my favourite pedals, really. It's kind of more of a recording board than a plain live board.
Yeah.
Nothing's midied up at the moment. And once we've done this session, I'll probably take 2 of the 3 delays off there and put a proper reverb and stuff on there.
So we'll document all this properly in the video, but it just give you an idea of what happens beforehand, plugging stuff in. So we've truly gone back to 1985. It's actually 1988 according to Steve. But
DeLorean rack.
we've set the what was it?
DeLorean rack.
Flux. Was it a flux capacitor? Is that what it was called?
Yeah.
And here we have Marty McFly and the Doc and George. Is it? McFly. Come on then, 2 412s. We'll explain this properly on camera, but we've got 2 412s.
The Trio 3-channel valve preamp that I've been using.
So this is a
since the
preamp,
80s.
right? There's no
Yeah.
power here. It's just
No,
just
just
a
a
preamp.
preamp.
Yep.
Yeah, so 3 channels, clean, mean, which is the overdrive channel, and the scream channel, which is what I use for most of my solos, even these days.
Yeah.
Let's do all this on camera.
Okay,
Let's do this
alright.
in the main video, but it's tantalising, I have to say. Marty! What are you doing?
Victory.
What are you
So
doing?
I'm just naming the presets. So Bluetoothed over to Steve's. 1, 2, 3. and I can control. Check this out. Just play for us, Steve. I'm going to be Steve's tech for the time being.
Just play, Steve.
Man, I'd be so annoying on the side of the stage.
With the trio, with the 3-channel valve preamp.
Right.
And that was a really good way of, again, controlling my gains for each sound, for those sort of crunch sounds or for the solo sound. So, a little bit noisy, but if it's too loud, you're too old. It's crunching, which you won't do without that particular 2290 in the loop,
Right,
unfortunately.
okay.
But I'll go back to the main channel because that's not quite as hot. But just the way that the delays die away, you know, it's so. And there's so many clever things you can do in terms of modulating them and panning them, and yeah, incredibly versatile unit in the studio. But
Would you use it in stereo? Was that at the, or were you? Because
I
I
mean-
remember thinking, because I remember seeing you with the dual amp rig, and thinking, wow, because your sounds were so huge that you must be doing stereo. But you were saying no, it's either at the time it was the JC120 or the Marshall Silver.
Yeah, it was
Silver
Marshall
Jubilee.
before the trio arrived on the scene.
And I never had them together. It was either one or the other.
There was one album we did, first album when Steve Hogarth sang at Season's End. There's a song called Berlin where I used 2 JC120s and I have a panning delay between the 2 JC120s with a Boss Dimension C pedal. And that's a great sound. And also I think I used it in some kind of like sort of volume solo kind of noises as well.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the only really type, really. You know, in my experience, if you can get a great mono sound, then that kind of does the job, and you're less at the mercy of whoever's mixing the sound.
That's very
I mean,
good point.
you know, I know people like my good friend Matt Pryor, you know, who
Yes.
ran the whole
Hey, Matt.
Hi Matt, you know, wet dry wet rig,
Yes.
which is great.
Oh,
and I think
sounds amazing.
yeah, that's the thing. They're inspirational to play to in the room,
Yeah.
but you are putting yourself at the mercy of the out front guy.
Yeah.
And I think he was telling me the other day about a TV show when he only heard the sound back. They'd only taken his dry signal.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So, you know,
Okay.
so if you merge it all together and it all comes out as a mono signal, you have control over how much of that is mixed in, and you never have to worry about that.
Right.
So that's my philosophy always with regards to mono and stereo.
thing, yeah. Okay.
I think also, you know, when you become successful and you play big venues, your left is way over, way over there, isn't it?
Yeah, if you're somebody in that side of the auditorium and,
Yeah.
and you're only hearing half the guitar signal, you're
Yeah,
gonna
right.
you're gonna be a
Yeah.
bit disappointed.
So we're going to buy one, by the way. I've just decided.
Okay.
You obviously know a guy who can fix them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, this
I
makes
agree
a change
completely.
because it's normally I see stuff you're demonstrating and I say, I'm going to have to buy that, which is where this volume pedal came from.
What? Just from that one sound that you played, it's kind of everything I want from an analog delay with all the things I don't want from an analog delay. Like it crunches off and it degrades. Is it 12-bit? Is it?
Yeah, I think it's a 12-bit and it uses some clever compression algorithm.
Right.
But I know when they were launched, they made some big deal about the fidelity of it. It might be like a 1-bit converter or something. I don't know. But anyway, it's definitely the most musical sounding delay I've ever used. Even now, you know, even though some of these pedals are really exceptionally good and they mimic a lot of the functions of a 2290, there's nothing quite like a 2290 in terms of how it enhances the sound. If you can find one that's lived a gentle life, usually in a studio, they're the ones to buy. Hopefully smoke-free studio, that's where a couple of mine came from. Then it's, you know, even if you don't take it on the road and you just have it as a studio tool, it's definitely recommended.
Yeah. Really, really cool.
No, if ever a delay had soul, I would say the 2290 is it.
And it's at this point where maybe there are other videos out there that you can go and watch. I think Anderton's might have done one where you're going to hear a direct comparison of the 2290 and maybe the new TC. We're not really going to get into that today, not least because, and this is the whole point, right? The reason Steve starts using this stuff in the first place is because those old units degrade, become hard to use, break.
Yeah, no, all my 2290s have been serviced, but and this one has only had studio use since then, but it's still components that are 25 years old that have had a hard life. You can't expect miracles, really. Yeah. Where, I mean, these things, they're pretty much bulletproof, he said.
Yeah. So presumably you came to the flight time first then, because that was the first one. That was
I had the original
Future
flight time, the one whatever Y, and then Yuki's been very good over the years, and sent me this version, and then I bought a second one. And then one of the times he was in the UK, he came up to the Iraqi club because he saw us play at the club in Kawasaki in 2017, and he saw how I used the 2290 with there's a certain kind of panning modulated delay. It's at the end of a track called Out of This World on our Afraid of Sunlight album. That's just a really unusual sound, and he was fascinated by that, and I'd sort of demonstrated how it worked and how he took notes, and basically I think he incorporated some of that philosophy into the Future Factory in terms of how it can modulate the delays. But I think he took it many steps further because the Future Factory is basically two delay lines.
Yes.
That you can run in series or parallel. You can use one as a modulation, and the other as a delay. There's so many clever things that it does. It's and I think the fidelity is very slightly higher than the flight time.
Yeah.
But they're both fantastic units. In a live situation, I would probably always go for the flight time because I know it so well. I can instantly go to whatever the setting that I'm trying to tweak is. Yeah. Where I think the Future Factory is more of a studio tool.
Oh, okay. And it does have the same WYSIWYG nature, that what you see is what you get, as the 2290. Yeah. So you can look down and pretty much know what's going on.
Exactly. It's funny. Almost every time we've featured either the flight time or the Future Factory on the show, you normally get a comment or two from somebody saying, "Oh man, how on earth do you understand that?" I understood that instantly. Yeah. Whereas something like this, equally amazing, I just could not learn.
No, I'm still learning, really. I mean, the H90 is an amazing unit, especially for those interesting kind of sonic textures.
Let's hear a bit of that.
But sound I used a lot on the Bioscope album I released at the end of last year with Force and Questioning from Tangerine Dream, and also used it a lot on this album that I'm releasing that we've done with Steve Hackett that comes out in June.
Wait to hear that.
You were talking about that last time you came in. That
yes,
it had just happened, or
well, it's been both these projects took about 8 years to actually come out. So you can't rush these things.
No. Tell me about it.
Yeah, as you can. Yeah, but it's just one of those things. Again, in the studio, when you're looking for something that because guitarists approach melody and phrasing differently to a keyboard player. So having something that's almost like a keyboard type texture, but that a guitarist can just play a simple arpeggio and it does something interesting like that. It's a really useful tool in the studio.
Yeah. Did you go from the H9 to the H90?
I have got a H9 as well, yeah.
And how do you find, because I've got a H9, which I know back to front because I've been using it so long, and I'm struggling with the H90.
I think you've got to use the app either on a MacBook or an iPad, I think, to be able to... I mean, you used it a lot, didn't you, Dave? My good friend Dave Foster's over here at the side.
Yes, amazing guitar player.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, it's... Even now, it makes my head hurt sometimes, trying to work it out. Yeah. Okay, these are the presets, these are the programs, and what the hell?
That's a great name for it. What the hell?
Yeah. Just make me a cup of tea.
Yeah. What's on the television? But it is an amazing unit.
Yeah.
And I think if you want one pedal that does all that weird and wonderful stuff,
Yeah,
that,
right.
that is a great thing to have on the board.
Yeah.
I mean, all my other pedals are quite sort of traditional in comparison. These selection of pedals that kind of reflect most of the sounds I've kind of used over the years.
And you said this is a board you've put together especially for today.
Yeah.
That's a studio board, basically.
Yeah, basically studio board. Once I've done today, I mean, I will take 2 of these delays off and put some probably reverbs or other kinds of pedals on there as well. But this is kind of like my kind of go-to studio board in terms of the selection of pedals I've got on here now.
Well, why don't we'll take the 2290, the rack version out of the equation, and then let's have a listen to these 3 delays.
Yeah.
And really keen to hear, because we don't have the TC Electronic one.
I'm going to buy one before this show goes out,
Please.
so that they don't all get sold out.
Yeah.
I guess
It's got a learn button on it.
the first
Is
question.
that like
you can
my
play
Phrygian dominant? I'm really learn. Hey,
you
you
can
got
play-
it now.
You can play Steve into it, and then it'll teach us how to do it. I guess where we should start once we've done that with the 2290, taking it out because it's a bit noisy and not very happy, is for the uninitiated. What does this style of delay do that a standard everyday digital delay doesn't do? That would be the question.
Works every time you plug it in.
Tick.
It's for me, something like the flight time is just a workhorse. You know, you so easy to program different patches for different tempos, different songs. You can see instantly what it's doing. Future Factory is a little bit more flying the space shuttle.
Right. Because that's super important with what you do, because delay is such a big part of your sound of the Marillion song. So you have to have the delays, as opposed to just having a tape echo that does a bit of slap. You've got to have really specific tempos doing a
songs.
Yeah.
You do have to do that. Songs like Cover My Eyes, where you're playing the delay as much as you're playing the part. So yeah, it is very, very important. But the most important thing is that it's easy to use. I mean, I've got various delays that I've had over the years, and like I've got the latest Meris. Is it the LVX and the
LVX
and the Mercury? I mean, great sounding units, but you need a degree in computer science to fly them.
That's the one thing. I mean, I think they're extraordinary sounding things, but I did, having spent quite a bit of time with them, and only scratch the surface of what they're capable of. But we've had guys come in on experience days. Yeah. And please remind me the name of that young gent that had one on his board with. There's a guy.
Josh, Chris, Dave, Steve.
That him, amazing at the sort of soundscape texture things, and the sounds that he was pulling out of it made me pull mine back out and get it on the board, because I was like. Yeah. You know, he'd sat down and really got to grips with it. And I think with any of the technology, it's as much as, all right, I'm going to really focus and dedicate myself to getting to the bottom of it. But the sound's got to be there. The core sound has got to be there to inspire you to do that in the first place.
I think that it's all down to what you're looking for.
Yeah.
If a delay is just part of your sound, but it's not everything you're about. If you're kind of doing sound design and ambient stuff, more power you've got, the better.
Yeah.
But if it takes so much time to learn the intricacies of that, then I kind of lose patience. Maybe it's my age, so I don't know. I don't want to spend a month with my face in a manual to eke out every ounce of processing and tweakability in something.
Yeah. Whereas these units, you can look at that and basically understand what's going on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Yeah, because
of that.
Yeah.
And the 2290 pedal, we'll talk about it later if you want. But I mean, that does a lot of the same things as this, but I'm not that happy with some of the choices they made in terms of the design of it.
Right.
It could be a lot easier to use. I mean,
interface-wise.
The way they've got, obviously they don't have physical space to put the keypad in, so they've got.
I was looking for that on it.
Yeah, they've got the rotary knob.
Okay.
But the gearing of maybe it's just a software update, but basically it's so slow to dial in exactly the tempo you want. You go.
Okay.
And you can hold down the delay button and it goes up in increments of 100 milliseconds. But compared to both flight time units, it seems so much clunkier, and it's physically so much bigger, the amount of real estate it takes up on your board. If you want like 4 or 5 great pedals that you can go and gig with or you can record with, you want great distortion, you want a great modulation pedal of some kind, whatever your thing is, and you want a great delay.
Okay, let's hear
do
'em.
some jibbery then. We've got to
Okay.
take some stuff out, haven't we?
Just got to unplug a
Finger
couple of
click.
things. Finger click, and we're back in the room.
One of my favourite sounds with the King of Tone and the Prog and the tremolo and the one of the delays.
And that's the flight time.
Yeah.
Right, okay, which is the mono one. We're not in
Yeah.
stereo, we're just
No.
using these two in mono. Okay.
So if you want to switch between them, that's on the flat time. The Future Factory is 11.
Okay.
TC pedals on 9. All these set up differently, so the sounds won't be directly comparable, but. I mean, all three are fantastic units, don't get me wrong. What I love about the flight time is the simplicity of it and its form factor, that it's so small and, it fits on most boards.
Yeah.
The thing I don't like about the Future Factory is that it's only got one MIDI socket, so it can be like an input or a through.
Yes,
So
of course. It's got to be
if-
right at the end of your chain.
Either that
Yeah.
or you have to use a MIDI
Parallel,
splitter, which is what we did, didn't it, for on my main G3 board with Marillion. We've just rebuilt part of that, finding a MIDI splitter box that worked was a challenge.
And the flight time's got MIDI in and MIDI out?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Do they still make the standard flight time?
Yes.
They still do? Okay,
Yeah.
that's good to know.
I've lost mine. If you've got it and I've lent it to you, can you please give it back? I've lost it for over a year now and I don't know where it is.
Every now and then I'll come into the studio and Mick will be a little bit grumpy and I go, what's wrong? He goes, still can't find my bloody flight time.
And you know it's mine because it's got a little ding about here on the top, on the top panel.
I mean, whoever you lent it to won't be admitting it.
No, I know.
But when that first turned up for us, it was a game changer.
Yeah.
It was really amazing.
Yeah.
In terms of breadth of the delay sounds themselves, Steve, so presumably, do you go for the modulation in them?
I don't tend to modulate my delays.
Yeah.
And I think most of the time I probably use a lot less delay in terms of the amount of delay than people kind of imagine. I like it to be kind of like a halo around the sound as opposed to swamping the sound.
It's so interesting
Yeah.
because when you're playing before, because I'm like, there's no reverb here.
No.
And it's like,
no.
this is the Andy Timmons thing. I'm
Yeah.
hearing the delays, the sort
Yeah.
of float around the sound, but because there's no reverb, and I still love reverb, but there's still clarity
Yeah.
with the notes. Very cool.
Let's maybe just flick through some sounds then and
Yeah,
see
okay,
what we can dial up. And
So which one's that? So that's something from Star Trek then. Captain's log.
and if we want to be a bit louder, that would be fine.
Again, you have that 2290 quality of really pristine delays.
Yep.
And maybe it's not quite as full bandwidth as the Future Factory because that's a later design. But for a guitar, you don't need it necessarily to be full bandwidth.
Right.
It's funny, it's one of those things you think about in the old days, touring and the quality of cables you used to use and how really they cut out so much of the high end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's only when you get these later generations of cables, you get all this high end that's at first seems quite, oh, that's a bit harsh. You know, you have to readjust and dial in the sound more, where you had that high frequency attenuation built into your cables in the old days.
Steve, it's so funny. Everything you play sounds like a song. It does. It's just like I'm waiting for the rest of the band to kick in. It's amazing. It's not just licks for licks' sake. It's like, and here we go. It's incredible.
My focus has always been to try and find like little melodies within the chords.
Yeah.
You know, I've never wanted to be a chop monster, which is just as well, because it's not something that comes naturally to me. So my whole approach, even when it comes to playing leads, it's all about melody and emotion and control, really, as opposed to occasional bit of sweep picking if I'm feeling really adventurous. But generally, it's textures and sound.
It's amazing.
Go to the pedal that I thought I was on before. What else do we have? We'll go back to the slightly noisier amp now, the trio. I think, again, this is a sound that I know and love.
Is that mono?
Yes.
It's just massive. It's such a huge sound.
Everything sounds better through a 4x12.
Ah, that's it. That's it. That's it. 4x12 now.
It does. I mean,
Dave,
we were setting this up at the Racket Club on Sunday, and I've got a really nice Bogner 2x12 cabinet. And one of the amps was through that, and the other was through my Marshall 4x12. And the 4x12 just sounded so much meatier. So well, let's swap them round and see. Maybe it's just the amp that's making the difference. And no, everything does sound better through a 4x12.
Okay.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be crazy loud either. People, you can play at sensible volume anyway.
Yeah.
4x12, go and buy one.
4x12. Matchless, 4x12 order coming your way.
And just to make the point, it's either one amp or the other, right, Steve?
Yeah.
You never use them both together.
Because I did have to check. It was just like I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way we've got this set up, it's basically, you have this thing, the 4-cable method, where you put the preamp section of the amp in basically in the loop of your effects controller. Well, we're doing that with both amps. So this is the 8-cable
method.
Which is why...
That's the world first, I think.
Yeah, because that's the thing you said about the clarity. It's because you're hearing the delays within that section, within the power amp section, gives you that extra kind of clarity.
The fidelity.
Exactly, yeah. And we've got the new Victory amp here, which they kindly supplied just for this very occasion.
Oh, brilliant.
It's
great. Happy to leave it here then?
Unfortunately not.
The new MKX. And are you using the gain in that, Steve?
I haven't been. This has just all been the clean sound, but we can demonstrate that. That's just a Victory. higher gain setting. Very impressed, actually.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah, I've got a,
That's what
You
you
can
can
hear
hear
Martin.
Martin. Yeah, you can.
yeah. No, it's great because it's not like a Marshall, but it's got
Yeah.
that Cornford kind of. This is a different
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
but very, very cool. I think he's done an amazing job with this
Yeah.
amp. And I think they're gonna sell really, really well. I mean, it's about £1,400, I think,
Wow.
which for an amp with this amount of flexibility, it's really is exceptional.
So, what delay were we hearing there?
That one was. That's the 2290 pedal.
Okay.
The thing is, they all sound great. It then becomes down to what's the easiest to use, what's the one that fits on your pedal board the best, and how adventurous you want to be in terms of using a delay for like sound design as well. I mean, for me, the great thing about the Feature Factory is that it's 2 delay lines.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you can do all those really clever, without having 2 delay pedals, you can do, short delay into a longer delay and quarter notes and, the whole kind of options in terms of delay times. So
How many delay lines in the original?
just the one.
Just the one.
Just
okay.
the one, yeah.
It's just one. Wow.
But yeah, lots of ways of modulating the signal and, like I say, and panning it and treating it. So yeah, it's interesting to see the 3 different takes on what that really represents. And I think the 2290, I mean, it's a lot cheaper than the Free the Tone stuff. And if you can't afford a flight time or a Feature Factory, then I think it's a good next step. But be prepared for a bit of a learning curve and some things that might frustrate you with the unit.
Sonically, for you, which one connects closest to the way you deal with your 2290?
I'd say the Feature Factory is the highest fidelity. It's the one that most approaches the fidelity of a 2290.
Right.
But the flight time is the one that most mimics the functionality of a 2290. So in a
Okay.
live situation, that's the one I would have on my board.
Okay.
Do you get into the filters at all?
Sometimes, but it's like depends what you're trying to do. Like if you're in the studio and you just want a delay for this track, you just want a part that is either not in time or in the pocket of the groove. How far down that rabbit hole do you want to go, basically?
Do you have presets plugged into these currently, or
No, this is literally being assembled for this. So yeah, normally I would have programmed loads of different patches and controlled them via MIDI from the G3, but it's not even got MIDI connected yet. This is so hot off the press, this
Nice.
board,
Very
specifically for this occasion.
Can we... Sorry, Mick.
no? You go for it.
I'd love to hear, because at the moment we've been hearing these preamps. I'd love to hear, because the Jester, I remember way back in the day when the British Guitar Academy, and you did a rundown of your pedal board, and I can't remember if it was you showed me the Jester or I showed you the Jester, but we came to the Jester at very much the same time.
Yeah, we had the original big.
With the big ones.
Big
yeah.
ones,
And
yeah.
I've still got
I've still got
the
mine,
big ones.
yeah.
I've got the
With the
juggler and
ramp on it.
Yeah.
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 I've got the juggler as well, which
Yeah.
is another great pedal.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And you've been using that Jester, the versions of the Jester, sort of consistently since then.
Yeah.
When would you use the Jester as opposed to the preamps?
Well, it's like another channel on your amp, really, especially if you've got an amp that's primarily clean, like the amp that I use when I do my solo shows, the Pitcher. It's kind of like a Dumble clone, but it's only really the clean side of it that I love.
Right.
But it takes the Jester really well. So it gives you that classic rock sound by using the Jester as a front end to it.
Can we hear a bit of that?
Let's see. Do you remember your labeling? Can you remember which one was? So yeah.
VV.
The Jester? Jester, Free the Tone.
Yeah, and of course you've got the boost channel as well if you want to kick the amp a bit harder. I mean, I probably wouldn't have it quite that loud, so it doesn't need. So yeah, instant rock.
Just awesome.
Yeah, it's a great pedal.
So that's interesting. Something you did instinctively there was, as the gain goes up and the rock increases, decrease the delay level.
Yes,
right?
yeah, you don't want it to get messy, really. It just wants to give the guitar a little bit extra body without swamping the signal, really. So delay level and the amount of feedback, it's probably still a bit too high on the feedback side. So, yeah, a lot to be said for not overpowering the dry signal with the delay.
Is it the fidelity of the delay that you connect with? Because I'm just wondering if because these can do so much with the panning and the modulation, but if it's with the 2290,
Yeah.
because you're getting such a great representation of your original guitar in the feedback of the delay, that when you increase or decrease the level, what maintains that clarity. And is that the thing that does it for you?
I think most delay pedals these days are of high enough fidelity. In fact, before I used these with my solo things, I used I can't remember the model number, but the white or grey Boss one with 4 presets and a manual thing.
DD200.
Exactly, I think
500.
DD something.
Yeah.
And that's a great sounding pedal. And before the need for MIDI, you had 4 presets to flick through the different things you would probably.
And that gave you everything.
No, it was before that. We're going
before
back.
that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Older than that.
with the two
Yes.
foot switches, the
Yeah,
DD20.
DD20,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's a great sounding unit. So I think any decently designed delay pedal can do what you want. It's then down to the functionality, if it's MIDI programmable, how easy it is to program, how easy it is to change it on the fly. Then the fidelity comes into that. But if the fidelity is almost taken for granted these days with modern designs, it's down to the functionality.
Okay.
That's what's going to differentiate. That's what's going to earn its place on my board.
Right.
Like say, something like the Meris, great sounding delay, lots of incredibly clever things it can do. But if somebody said to you halfway through the gig, "Oh, can you just increase that delay time by 20 milliseconds
Let me
and
find the right
decrease?"
bubble.
Yeah. Yeah, talk amongst yourself for a while. That's the opposite of the situation you want with all your pedals. You want to be able to get in there, which is why it's great about using stomp boxes in the first place.
Yes.
It's because it's hands-on, and I've used multi-effects. With the 2290 as well, I used a Lexicon MPX G2, which was a really good sounding unit, and it had a pre and post effects section. And the problems with it is it only had 50 user presets out of 300, and the time switching between presets was so painfully slow
Right.
Yeah.
that you used to have it on one and leave it there most of the time.
Yeah.
But that's kind of my philosophy of pedals.
Yeah.
What would be an example of maybe the shortest delay time, or how short do you go and how long do you go with the delays?
Most of my delays are between 3.8 something and 440 maybe. Most of them live within that period of time. Right. I mean, there's some things like the solo in a track, or Neverland we do, I think it's like 550 and a very a louder delay than I'd normally use. Something like Cover My Eyes is like 396 or something like that, and it's a very loud but short delay. I don't tend to use slapback type delays much. I'm always on the lookout for new interesting pedals. I just got the new Strymon, is it the oil can one?
Yeah.
Because it's the curse of the modern age, with all due respect. as a guitarist, you go on YouTube and somewhere you will find some amazing new pedal that you really want.
Welcome to That Pedal Show.
You're welcome.
And I mean, I'm fortunate that I can more or less afford to buy what I want, and then if I don't bond with it, I sell it or get my good friend Dave Foster here to sell it on my behalf. So it's a kind of flow through of pedals that don't quite hit the spot for me. But yeah, you have probably been responsible for several £1,000s worth of my expenditure over the last few years.
Sorry. And then what about the old chestnut, Steve? So we know that you definitely do use them in time and play to the delay.
Yeah.
Do you use sounds where that's not a thing, where the delay's just happening and doesn't really matter that it's not in time with the song?
Yeah, there's times when, depending on the delay level, and depends on the part, would it be that it has to be in the pocket. Sometimes being in the pocket isn't a good thing.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the things I think on the flight time, where you can offset the delay time slightly so it's not exactly in the pocket, which is quite a cool idea. But yeah, generally, it's like I say, it's that halo around the sound to give it width and space, and then everything you do on top of it, really. Yeah.
One thing that when I first saw you play with Marillion, it was big rack, 2290, all the stuff. And then when we did the thing and you had your pedal board, where you'd get down and you'd change your knobs straight away. When the difference between a pedal board that is instantly accessible and then having to change the sound on the rack and go back, is that something that is immediately obvious when you're performing, or is Marillion so rehearsed to that level that you're not really changing things as you're playing?
I don't tend to change things, but I do use still a lot of pedals that I have them rack mounted, or these days that other board that I brought down here that Dave made for me, where cause I used to have 2 giant racks, we're now down to 1 not quite as giant rack, and the big board with the rotosphere on there, and the adrenaline. And various other pedals. So a lot more is down in front of me that I can get to if you need to. But I think it depends what you're doing. In a writing situation, it's so much more satisfying to be able to be hands-on. You can get a lot of great multi-effects units, at the risk of swearing, modelers that could do some cool sounds. But you lose that spontaneity.
Yes. Yeah, and that's, I guess, in that creative moment where you just want to be able to go, I'm hearing this, and so you're not breaking that flow.
Exactly,
get to it.
Or you have something like H90, you flick through the presets and you have a happy accident. You have this sound that, I didn't think I'd ever use that sound.
Yeah, right.
And maybe it only happens 2 or 3 times in a 6-minute track. But when those moments happen, it's like, I've not heard that before. And I think, a lot of what we do with pedals, it's variations on a theme.
Yeah.
You want classic sounds. You want a great chorus sound, great tremolo sound, great overdrive. But then the H90 is that secret sauce when it comes to finding things that, I wouldn't think of ever playing that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Steve, thank you so much for coming back and showing us the 2290, and this has been fascinating. Please come back again. And when I would love when you and Steve release the album, because that I'm so excited about that.
Well, we do have we're shooting a video at Real World in April, so if you guys want to take a trip up and see us in the studio,
we'll so be there.
That would be amazing. That would
Wow,
be properly amazing.
Yeah, but thanks once again, mate. And Steve's going to play us out. So thank you everyone for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Massive thank you to everyone that's gone to thatpedalshowstore.com and grabbed some merch.
Please do that.
Also, massive thank you to our patrons on Patreon and, of course, our preferred retailers. Details in the description below. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Linesman. Thank you, Ball Boys. We'll see you again very soon. Bye.